million more women than men. There's problems. They have problems. If every man in America got married, there'd still be 7.8 million, almost 8 million women who can't get husbands. Problem. In New York, they have 1 million more women than men. If every man got married, there'll be still 1 million women who can't get husbands. And of the manpower they have there, 1/3 are gays, Qawm Lut, sodomites. Look, they have problems, but they're harassing you. They say, how lost are the heathen, you heathen, the Hindu heathen, the Muslim heathen. They want to convert the heathen to Christianity. So they're not going to wait for you to become perfect. You have to give battle, how to defend yourself and how to take the attack home. And attack is the best form of defense. But you don't know how to do the job. You are terrified. I said, the people, when they return back, our students, they don't do the job because they were not taught how to speak to the non-Muslim. They don't know how to speak to the Hindu, how to attract him towards Islam. He doesn't know how to talk to the Jew. He doesn't know how to talk to the Christian. He doesn't know. Now, but he knows the size of the beard that you should keep. He knows that. That's what he learned. In wudu, how many fard, how many sunnah, how many nafil, how many wajib, he knows. So that is what he's going to tell you. Whatever he's programmed with, that is what is going to come out. So the method is find common ground, equip yourself. Allah says, Qul hatu burhanakum. Anything the man claims, anybody, whether Jew, Christian, Hindu, anybody making any claim for his religion, you say, Qul hatu burhanakum. So Allah is telling you that. Have you been asking them for the burhan? Muslim, in 1,400 years, have you been asking the Christian for the burhan, asking the Jews for the burhan, or anybody? No. So now they are asking you for burhan. You don't do your job, Allah creates parasites. You don't keep the environment clean, then the parasites come to pester you, so that you may keep the environment clean. These are the parasites who create fever in your midst. And we need a fever to wake up. You need a Karbala to wake you up. कहता है कि इस्लाम जिंदा होता है हर करबला के बाद. You are waiting for a Karbala, a destruction, loss. Until then, we are all right. It's a dhed hai, chamar hai. You don't want to do the job. If you want to do the job, you'll find all these things opening up to you. And according to your own genius, you do the job. But don't try to find fault with others. Don't tell them, leave the work you're doing and join me. Don't tell the tablighi, it's a bye, come and join the propagation center. Only thing I'm asking, look, you two, you carry on with your good work. Don't tell me, leave this and do that. Priority number one. I said, don't talk about priorities because we'll never come to an agreement. What is number one and what is number two, you'll never come to an agreement. Our debates won't end, and in the meantime, you're not doing any work. What you want to do? You want to have karate classes? Look, the Muslim must be fit. He must be the fittest fellow. Allah tells you, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمُ اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. Say, get ready against them your strength to the utmost of your power. وَمِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ. Even including steeds of war, the most sophisticated weapons of the time. تُرْحِبُونَ بِهِ. That you may strike terror into their hearts. No man dare touch you. That's how the Muslim ought to be at any time. Every Muslim should be that. This humble cap, you have it on, but you are a karate expert. A guy touches you and he goes flying. He touches another guy with a little humble topi and he goes flying. They won't touch any other Muslim with the topi. These guys are karate experts. Inse baas baaz raho, dur raho. Look, that's how it ought to be. Turhibuna bihi aduwallah wa aduwakum. Who are the enemies of God and your enemies. Wa akharina min dunihim. There are others besides these. La ta'lamunahum, about whom you don't know. Bole bale Musliman, bewakuf, simpletons. You don't know. There are others waiting on the fence, by the wayside. As soon as you go down, they'll tear you to pieces. And you're waiting. Go on, man, equip yourself with knowledge. Physically, spiritually, mentally, every field, you must be on top if you are a Muslim. This is not your role that you be in the gutter. That is not the destiny Allah had in store for us. कि हमको मुसलमान बनाए कि मार खाने के लिए लोगों का. That you get a beating from everybody, from every side. So the Jew knocks hells into you. The Hindu knocks hells into you. Everywhere, wherever you go, they're knocking hells into you. Is this the role for being Muslim? I says, no, it's your choice. It's your choosing. Because you don't want to make any sacrifice. You don't want to exert yourself a little more. You're satisfied passing your exams. What about physically? When you come to Africa, you must be a fit fellow, physically too. When you shake hands with the guy must know that this Musliman mein kuch hai, taakat hai. He's got something there, up his biceps. Look, my brothers, this is it. Method, there's no such thing as this is the only method. I have used this because the type of customers I get are these customers. And it's all Quranic. Allah is telling you, Qul hatu burhanakum. I have been doing that. And that is the secret of my success. What I have achieved is because of that. It's a natural thing. I didn't know that when I was doing it. I started this about 50 years ago as a schoolboy, just left school. I'm doing that. Qul hatu burhanakum. But I didn't know the Quranic verse. I didn't know Allah wants me to do that. But that's a natural thing. If you behave naturally, you're a Muslim. I was behaving naturally. I was weak. I learned boxing, wrestling, karate. I'm sorry, there was no karate. It's judo, the gentle art of self-defense. I did all that, swimming, all that. What for? Because I was weak. What's the answer? I said, equip myself. No, this is natural. If you're behaving naturally, you're a Muslim. But you don't behave naturally. The guy, there's no jealousy. I said, it's natural to be jealous. Somebody staring at your wife, your mother, your daughter, and no jealousy in you. So the use, kokol, what are you? What's wrong with you? Something wrong with you. Man comes in your yard, in your field, and steals animals, wild animals, in your yard, and you feel nothing about it. In my country, they have hunting seasons. You can hunt wild animals. If you are licensed and you go into your own property, in your own farm, you can shoot animals. Or in the farm of your friend, you can shoot animals during hunting season. But if you go into somebody else's farm and shooting wildlife, it doesn't belong to the farmer. It's free for all. The thing goes through the fence into another man's field. It's free for all during the season. But you go on his farm and you shoot an animal, the man can shoot you and kill you. Jealousy. Not in my yard. When the animal is anywhere else, you can shoot, you can do, that's your business, but not in my yard. Here, in your home, the guy comes along from 10,000 miles away and is stealing your property. He is perverting them to become your enemies. As Hindus, the poor chaparasi, the poor dirt, the poor chamar, he is looking up to the Muslims. I know, I lived here with them for 3 years. They look up to the Muslims. For some reason, I don't know what, they look up to the Muslims. They didn't opt to go away to Hindustan. When partition took place, they opted to remain because they must have felt that the Muslims are better people to live with. With all the turmoil, they are Hindus by faith, but I say these Muslims are good people. They're all right, we'll live with them. And they opted to live with us. Now, you were not prepared to absorb them, to take them in. So the guy comes from outside and he brainwashes them. And he makes them into zombies against you. Now he knows that he's better than you. He says, you Muslims, my boss, you my owner, you are worshipping the dead Prophet Muhammad. And as such, you're going to go to hell. I got the living Christ. Christ died for my sins. Who died for yours? That mentality. That mentality will make him to sit on your head and he'll be ruling you. I'm telling you, in 50 years' time, 100 years' time, that guy will be ruling you, telling you what to do and how to dance to his tune. And all the European nations will help him to see that he achieves what he wants to do. You can never have Islamic State. You can never have Sharia. With 10% opposition, you can never have a Pakistan, Islamic State. The thing, what do? I says, change them, talk to them. Even now, talk to them. Ya Ahlal Kitab, ta'ala, come. Ila kalimatin sawain baynana wa baynakum. That we come to common terms as between us and you. Talk to them. Reason with them. But we ourselves don't know anything about what Allah is telling us. You don't know what Allah is telling you, how to do the job. He's telling you, He's giving you, this is the textbook, He's telling you how to do the job. But that is not a part of our curriculum. I'm happy to hear, last night I made such a statement and I'm told that you have a Dawah Institute here on your university. I hope you are being taught how to talk to the non-Muslim, how to talk to the Jew, how to talk to the atheist, how to talk to the agnostic, how to talk to the Hindu. You've got to learn. Just knowledge, book knowledge, if you don't know how to impart it, you're wasting time. You are wasting time, university's time, public money, everything you're wasting. Unless you learn this knowledge, how you're going to use it when you come out. And in the meantime, you start using it and see, trying it out. Try it out now. You have non-Muslims around. Talk to them. Reason with them. Take them home for tea. Give them some bhajas and samosas and do the job. Inshallah. Any other question? I prefer questions from the floor because people, you see what happens, our students. This is also another thing that you have to acquire. You must learn to stand up and speak. Any coward can do this. You know, I could have written half a dozen questions and gave my friend and said, look, you send it to me so I can pass time. Look, stand up, that's good. If there's nobody, then we'll deal with this. Okay. If there's nobody on the floor, then we'll deal with this. In the meantime, let's have it from the floor. True. Yes. You see, this is something that is and puts us on the defensive. It makes us to bow our head down in shame. I give you an example from my own life. You see, I live in Durban, and from Durban there's a town called Stanger, about 45 miles away. And I had some problems there, legal problems. So I used to go there and meet my legal lawyer who happened to be a Hindu. So every time when I'm returning, he gives me a lift. For some reason, he wanted to come to Durban, he gives me a lift. And in the car, I start preaching to him Islam. I tell him, how Islam, how beautiful it is, how it can solve the problems of mankind and everything. What we preach to others is, look, Islam is great. On the second trip, the guy is telling me, he says, look, Mr. Deedat, you're talking a fat lot about Islam. But I can tell you as a lawyer, I'm handling a case of the Muslims about the Madrasa Trust, religious school. 2 sets of trustees are going to court, and I'm handling the case for one group of trustees, Muslim trustees. There is another case also simultaneously going on in that town between the trustees of the masjid, and I'm also handling the case for one of those groups. And you tell me Islam can solve all problems of mankind. You can't solve your own petty problems. The madrasa can't solve the problem, and the masjid can't solve the problem, and you're talking about Islam solving problems of mankind. I felt, how do you feel? You feel like a sheep, man. You feel like a sheep. I told him, I answered, I don't know whether you'll agree with me. I said, you see, Mr. Krishna, that was his name. I said, Mr. Krishna, the next time this venerable gentleman comes to you, with a dark patch on the forehead for making so many sujoods, and that Turkish coat, the lamba jaha, tum Pakistani coat kehte hain, hum log Turkish coat kehte hain usko, with that long coat, pious Muslim with nice beard, when he comes to you next time with these problems, just ask him one simple question. That, uncle, Haji Saab, have you read the Quran once in your lifetime with understanding? Once. In your whole life. Tum double Haji hue, 5 waqt ke namazi hain, mashallah. Did you read this Quran once in your lifetime with understanding? Madrasa group, any Muslim comes along to you with a problem, just ask him this question, have you read the Quran once in your lifetime with understanding? And I said, you in your life, you won't come across that Muslim. That's the answer. The answer is, we are not going to the Quran. Nobody goes to the Quran. We are prepared to die for this book. If this book is insulted, we are prepared to go to war. But nobody is prepared to live for it. Nobody lives for it. Nobody knows what's going on. What is Allah talking to you? What is saying what the Muqri was reading to you? Nobody knows. It is all for beautification, for spiritual blessing. Sawab, sawab, sawab. I say you're going to get sawab, but the real sawab, the benefit is following instructions. And this is the reason why we find in this position. If you allow Allah Bari Ta'ala to speak to you in a language that you understand, if you understand Indonesian and you have an Indonesian translation. If you can't understand Arabic, read the Indonesian translation and allow Allah to speak to you in Indonesian. The Urdu-speaking people have to get an Urdu translation. But you people at the university, you must have an English translation for so many reasons. So you master. You master that you can use this as a weapon, as a tool, as an adornment, as a weapon of defense and attack. All this Quran will serve for you. But you have to know what Allah is talking about. What is He telling you? And if you don't allow Him to talk to you, all this is water on duck's back. This is all entertainment. I'm entertaining you all. And at times some great people come along and make you to shed bitter tears too. But it's only for a moment. The real change only comes if you allow Allah to talk to you, and He is talking to you and to me and to every passerby in the street without any intermediary. No Jibreel required. Allah is talking to you without Jibreel. Allow Him to talk to you and see what He does to you. Then this excuse will go, inshallah. Our inactivity, our un-Islamic behavior, all that inshallah will go if you allow Allah to talk to you. Like this we hear our sheikhs and imams, mashallah, but allow Allah to speak to you in the first person. That will change. Yes.
can prove their sincerity by means of this truth.
See, there are laws and laws. There are laws and laws, sets of laws, regulations, natural laws. You follow certain natural laws, whether you are a believer or a non-believer. Allah's promises is that you must get the fruits. As Iqbal says, Muslim आई हुआ काफिर तो मिले हूरो कुसूर, तुम में हूरों का कोई चाहने वाला ही नहीं, जलवे तूर तो मौजूद है मूसा ही नहीं. You see, he says, there is nobody among you who is desirous of these huris in Jannah. Jannah, Jalwa Tur, the glory on the mount, which Musa saw, is here with you. But there is no Moses to find it. So, the kafir, when he behaves as a Muslim ought to behave, certain rules and regulations, prosper, he must prosper. He is, as the Shair says, Deen kafir, fikr tadbir o jihad, Deen kafir, fikr, tadbir o jihad, Deen mullah, fi sabilillah fasad. So, if this is what you are doing, you get the fruits of your fasad. The other guy is thinking, planning, scheming. He's thinking about landing on the moon. Kennedy, 10 years before they landed on the moon, they said within the next 10 years, we will land on the moon. And they did it. There's a law. Allah is telling you about the law in the Quran. You see, He's telling you about His law in the Quran. You read it, but you don't implement it, you don't understand anything. Ya ma'ashar al-jinn wal-ins, He's telling you. Say, oh, gathering of jinn wal-ins, is of jinns and man. أن استطعتم من أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان. It says, penetrate to the regions of the heavens and the earth. But you cannot penetrate except by His permission. Talking about penetrating the regions of the heavens and the earth when they even hadn't invented an ox wagon wheel, a wagon wheel. Talking about penetrating regions of heaven and earth. Allah is telling you 1400 years ago that you can penetrate, but by His permission. So you got to seek His permission. How do you get His permission? So, हम 5 वक्त नमाज पढ़ते हैं? No, that's not the permission. What? रोजा रखते हैं? Fasting? Permission. License. How do you get license? Your driving license. Because you are a namazi? You're a tahajjud gazar? Why? How do you get your license? So number one, you can read signs, you can read notices, your eyes are all right, physically you are okay, you know the rules of the road, and you can drive, and you pass your test, you get your license. Whether you are a Hindu, whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Muslim or an atheist. That's the law of the country. You have to pass through certain tests, you got your license. In my country also, business, certain requirements, get your license. This other thing, get your license. You want to penetrate the regions of the heavens, you want to go to the moon, get your license. License? How do you get your license? Knowledge. How are you going to get onto the moon? Number one is propulsion. You must know everything about propulsion. You must know about the fuse that you can use. You must know about the gravity around the earth. To get out of this gravity, what do you need? And then when you land on the moon, let's say you landed there, they say, well, once you got out of this gravity, it's all plain sailing. You know, without any energy, you'll keep on moving in whatever direction. With a little jet here and jet there, you can reach your target. No fuel expense. MashaAllah. Now you land on the moon, you know what's going to happen? As soon as you come out of your capsule, if you are in the sunny side, 2 minutes your blood boils, finish. There won't be anybody to come back to tell you what went on, what went wrong. So while the guy is sitting on his backside here, he knows about the heats and vapors of the uttermost planets in the universe. He knows that when he lands on the moon and he was sitting on a chair with one of his legs in the light and the other in the shade, the one in the light, the blood will boil in 2 minutes. It's dead. The one in the shade, 2 minutes will be frozen because there is no atmosphere there. Oh, he knows all that. So now, he says, now to get a license to go there, now you need some clothing, some covering that will save me from the heat and save me from the cold. And then look, I'll be gone for so many days and I can't take this thing out to pass, to excrete and to urinate. तो उसके लिए ये इंतजाम करो, वो इंतजाम करो. He did everything and then he said, right, now we press the button. Allah gave him the license to go whether he's a believer or a non-believer. This is His law. So you follow the law, You reach your destination. That other guy, the kafir is following certain laws. He's getting the fruits. You don't. Allah is telling you to look at the birds. The only birds you watch, they call bird watching in the English language. They say when you look at women. That's called bird watching. Allah is telling you to look at the birds. You look at the birds. It means study the birds. Look at the camel. You look at the camel. No, the white man is doing it. He was telling you about the camel. You doing it? He's telling you what to do. And you don't touch this book. You don't know this book. This book is a closed book to you. That guy, without reading the book, is following instruction. So he gets the fruits. You own the book. Make a tawiz around your neck. It's only a dead weight millstone you're going to carry around your neck. Get the instruction. Follow the instructions and see what Allah does to you. Yes, my son.
What is the responsibility of all individuals?
Yes, that's his first question. Let me answer that. Let me answer that first question. What is the responsibility of all individuals? I said the responsibility is according to your capacity. You have a feeling what you should do to improve the ummah. That's your responsibility. You don't come to change me. Don't go to change the tablighi fellow. Right? Don't go to try and change the secularist. Whatever you have in mind that should be done, you do that job. You are an expert. You are the fittest man Allah has created for that job. You are a coward, you want to pass it on to somebody else. You say, they have a problem. What about that? And what? I said, look, you are the guy. The guy comes to me, a Dr. Parvez in Peshawar, he says, the communist is the problem. I said, right, you are the guy, you Dr. Parvez, you must tackle the communist. In other words, he's telling me, leave the Christians, man, go and tackle the Russian. I said, look, what you trying? I said, did the Russian come and give you Das Kapital? He says, no. I said, look, the Christians is giving Bible to my people. He's harassing my people, he's giving this book, I show you all the evidence. So I'm involved in that. You think about the communists, you are the fittest man to give Bible. But you coward, you want to pass it on to me. This is what's the trouble with us. You want to pass everything on to me. You say, look, what about this? I say, yes, what about that? You are the guy. Why don't you go to the villages? Why don't you go among those untouchables? Why don't you talk to them? You're running to Africa with the Tablighi Jamaat. Foreign exchange. You're wasting foreign exchange. You got problems here. The Muhajirs and the Pakhtuns are fighting like cats and dogs, killing one another. They are stealing your children here. And what you want to do in Africa? Having a jolly good time. So I said, look, you do your job at home. You say this is to be done, you are the man. And everybody, don't pass the buck. Passing the buck is the oldest game in the world. Passing responsibility. Uska kaam hai, ziya nahi karta hai, wo nahi karta hai. I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? That professor should be doing that. I said, what are you doing? So the answer is, you, everyone who's got some thoughts, you are the fittest person for that job Allah has created. But you don't want to take that honor, that responsibility. You want to pass the buck, which is the most cowardly thing to do. And we are all cowards by nature. We are cowards, all of us. We want to pass. I want somebody else to take the pill for me. I want somebody else to carry the burden for me. That is Christianity. You, Muslim, carry your own burden.
You told me that I have to do my own responsibility, but what is responsibility? You see, what is responsibility?
Your responsibility is whatever is coming to your mind. The very fact that you stood up to tell me, you had something in mind to tell me, that is your responsibility of doing that job. Whatever you had in your mind. Do they stop you from talking to your fellow students? Do they? That you can't talk? I'm sure you're talking a lot of things which they don't want to hear. But nobody's monitoring you. There's no spies sent upon you. Can't you share your thoughts with your brethren? He said, look, man, the trouble with us is we don't know the Quran. Why don't we know the Quran? He said, look, the system of education where we are taught like parrot. We have learned the Quran parrot fashion. This system was a beautiful system for new converts. 200 to 400 years ago, my ancestors were converted by the Arabs. And they taught us a quick way of becoming Muslims, of joining them in Salat. So they made us to learn, my ancestors, the elders, to learn by sound. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen and a few small surahs. Then the children, they set a system for them, left one of those sailors behind, is to teach his children, says alif, be, te, say alif, ba, ta, sa, and this is alif and fatha. We used to say alif zabar a, be zabar ba, te zabar za, a, ba, ta, alif lam zabar Allah, alif zabar la, Allah. That's how I learned. Be lam zabar bal, lam alif zabar la, balla, talla, salla, and we learned to produce the sound, and according to that system, I learned what I have learned. I can produce the sound. And everybody, non-Arab, produces the sound without understanding a word. That was a beautiful system for new converts. I said, look man, we are already Muslims for 200 years, 400 years, 1,000 years, some of you claim. And you are still treated as a new convert. The system you are following is a system for new converts. So why don't you talk? Then now you will become the education minister one day. He said, look, what is this? What is this? What kind of system is this? That there's no language on earth you learn without understanding. No language. It's a unique system the Muslims have of learning the Quran without understanding a word. It's a unique disgrace. Why? Can't you stop that? And you think that your ustad will stop you from doing that? Telling the others, say, look man, what is this? What has happened to us? Ask to the Maulvi Sahib, maybe your uncle. He's a Maulvi. Talk to him and say, what is this? This is a system for new converts, man. When will we become Muslims? I was treated as a new convert, my son was treated as a new convert, and my grandchildren are still being treated as new converts. I want to know when they'll become Muslims. They'll never be. In 1,000 years, the Pakistani will never be a Muslim in your system of educating the Quran. You'll ever be a new convert unless you put on your... Say, what is this, man? You mean to say that your doctors and lawyers and your alims can't see that? Maybe they can't. It's your job. You see it. It says, look, man, we must rectify. System, change the system. The Jews, in 25 years, they made Hebrew a dead language to come alive. A language that was dead for 2,000 years. In 25 years, every Jew coming from all parts of the world, speaking different languages, they all have mastered Hebrew. And they made Hebrew a language of science in the Hebrew University. A dead language. Arabic is a living language. You and I, every Urdu-speaking person at least knows 40% of Arabic without knowing it. 40% of Urdu is Arabic. 40% of Persian is Arabic. You start with the capital. 40%! And you can't speak the language. You can't learn the language. There's something wrong, man. Something wrong with your system or with your imagination. You haven't got it. So you deserve to be where you are. No imagination. Deen kafir, fikr, tadbir o jihad. You are busy. Fi sabilillah fasad. Jagra. So look, you are, therefore I said I want the students to ask questions because my elders might come along, they have an urge, to get at me. I said, save me from them. I want you rather that you ask me something that I can tell you, look, these are my feelings. You have to change. To unify the Muslims of Pakistan, you need a common language. And that common language is not Urdu. I love Urdu. One of my alim said, if Allah Bari Ta'ala chose a language other than Arabic for the Quran, it would have been Urdu.